widen that island, I don't believe we're going to have any setback issues, any area variances that are required of any sort. So we would be glad to work out some of those revisions to the plan upon return from the zoning board of appeals. They give us a favorable decision.
I do agree with Mike. These two items wouldn't affect a zoning board. It's really more to give them a chance to be able to address them before they come in next time, rather than here for the first time at that point.
Showing this process.
But they do show a minimum side yard of 38 feet, which is significantly more than they need, which does give them room to provide that island and adjust the parking a little bit.
I will just quickly say, to address number 5 again, the 100-year floodplain plan, does this new design as compared to the old one affect it more? Because I do see one of the buildings does go into it. I guess parcel number 2, is that also part of like your ownership of the property?
Yeah, parcel number 2 is in our ownership. What we would do is when we come back, hopefully after a favorable result at the zoning board of appeals, I'll probably put together at that point, I'll make the changes that are noted on this, I'll put together probably a concept grading plan. But probably won't go too much further than that, because still it would be a good idea to give the board a chance to review everything and weigh in and give other considerations they may have. At that point, though, with the concept grading plan, I'll start to get an idea for if I'm placing any fill within that floodplain. And if I am placing fill within that floodplain in order to complete this design that's shown here, I'll have to mitigate that fill somewhere else on the site. So I will look at other areas on the site where I can compensate and pull some fill out so that at the end of the day, we have a net zero fill situation on the site.
And I guess, would you intend on using parcel 2 for that matter, or?
We may need parcel 2 for that matter, yes, we might. We do have some room left over behind the parking area over there, but when I remove some of those parking spaces up in the front, in order to make a circular, complete circular path, they're probably going to be relocated somewhere down closer to the 100-year floodplain. So that plan may change a little bit in terms of its encroachment into the floodplain. But again, I don't think the encroachment's going to be significant. We have
If
an
it's just
abundance,
parking or something like that,
and we
it's
have
not
an
a whole
abundance,
structure.
exactly, and we have an abundance of area available for mitigation, so we don't necessarily foresee any issues with being able to compensate fill if required in the program.
Question?
Sure.
And I understand about adjusting the parking spaces, and I think that's an excellent idea. With the sizes that I'm seeing here in the single egress, how does that work out for the fire department? If the fire department had to get in and out?
Can I comment on that? Yeah, only because I haven't provided that plan yet, but as a part of developing this layout, I actually did utilize fire truck turning diagrams, and I used an aerial access truck, so it's a 26-foot wide aisle. And so if you'll notice at the bottom of the plan, you'll see there's like a 40-foot gap between like the dumpsters and the curb above it. The reason for that 40-foot gap is to make sure that I can get a fire truck around and through. If you take a look, building 2, I believe, is the one on the right-hand side. You'll notice that there's a paved area to the bottom of building 2. That's so that fire truck can actually just back up a little bit, pull into that area, and get back out again. The fire truck wouldn't need to utilize the circular connection back to 94. That would just be ridiculous.
I'm worried about the getting in part, not so much the getting out.
So we have no problem getting those turning diagrams are already done, and I'll provide you with our next estimate.
Thank you.
I did actually have the same discussion with Mike this
Yeah.
morning, but as the process moves, that's definitely something that will be considered. When we get to a point where the board is feeling very comfortable with the plan, we'll actually be referring it to other departments in the village, the fire department, police department, ambulance, to get their feedback. So the fire department will definitely have opportunity to comment if they see a concern.
Very good. Okay, any comments from the rest of the board?
Can we ask what type, I know it's residential, but is it going to be condos, townhomes, rentals?
They'll probably be rentals. Yeah.
And how many floors? Just
We'll have basement. The basement, we haven't developed that plan yet, will be storage incidental to the tenants. They'll have little lockers and whatever else they have down there.
when you say 14 per building,
There are 14 units per building, correct? Yes.
so there would be 7 on each floor.
Correct. Yep.
Now, is there a traffic study that's done for this, or traffic impact, or not?
I'll defer to John on that. I
No,
don't think we're there yet, but.
Your board can certainly ask for any information you feel is appropriate. The first stage of that would be, you express a concern, Mike can put together some simple information rather than a full-blown traffic study. That may or may not satisfy the concern. If it doesn't, then you would have the opportunity to request a full-blown traffic study. At this point, it would be very early to get into that.
Understood.
That's part of the secret review, the environmental review of the project,
Okay.
but it's definitely an issue we can look into.
Okay, thank you.
My only note is that, have we confirmed that the height will reach the required?
So, we've put a lot of different building plans together for this over the last several years. All of those were able to meet height requirements. We don't actually have elevations currently done yet, simply because we just didn't have enough time to put them together. But we'll have to ensure that
Okay,
requirement's met.
yeah, as long as it's understood.
We're not gonna seek a variance for that.
Right.
Okay, that was my point of bringing it up now.
Any additional comments, questions?
Am I allowed to read comments that are in the chat?
It's up to the chairwoman whether she would want to take comments from the public. It's not a public hearing,
Oh,
so those could be submitted at that time. But if the board wants to hear it,
Would the board like to have comments?
I'm good for comments. Yes.
okay.
Did we get the motion from that, or?
No.
No, okay, no, go ahead then.
So Julie Trapnell is asking, what is the impact on traffic, noise, environment, emergency services? I think some of those were already answered.
Yes,
We just covered that.
that's gonna be.
No, I know, just
Yeah.
letting the public have their
Yeah,
voice heard.
that's gonna be all part of, just so the public knows, again, this is similar to the first applicant. This is an extremely sparse site plan. None of the details that are required for an approval are depicted. So we still need to see a lot more, and applicants are aware of that. But as the attorney has mentioned earlier, and I would agree, that their entire design would completely change absent the variances. So the appropriate step at this time is to get those variants, come back, and then look at the entire environmental review, which will be taken upon this board.
Any additional questions?
One more. Ryan Kitzrow, what will the square footage of these units be per bedroom versus comparable rental units in the village?
I don't know that I can compare to what's in the village since I don't know what's there, but I can tell you what's currently shown. So this is the general layout right now of what has been prepared for, mostly for, as you can see, like a dwelling unit yield, you know what I'm saying, and a general layout plan. So each one of these apartments here on the first floor, about 912 square feet each. And on the second floor, we range from 919 to, I think the smallest is 913. So we're all around a little over 900 square feet per unit.
What are they, one bedroom?
Right now, they're mostly two bedrooms. I think we have one three-bedroom mixed in there right now. We would potentially seek to have, if we can, in this layout, because we're kind of constrained with the size of the buildings, if we can get a little bit of a better mix of two and three bedrooms, we prefer to do that, simply to give more options for rentals. But we can tell you that it'll be 28 dwelling units, and as we kind of flesh the plan out moving forward, we'll have a better idea of how many are two and how many are three. But currently shown, I believe all but one in each building is shown as two bedroom.
That's it for the public questions. Thank you for answering that.
Sure.
Any more questions from the board? Any more concerns? No? Well, thank you for the context. I just wanted to say that it's very important that, you did take into consideration what we've been debating about since last meeting. And even having the meeting with John Terry, the mayor, and yourself, is finding a common ground is very appreciated. One of the things is, we go by the code, and we make sure that the code is enforced. Because in that case, anybody could just build however they want. So we do appreciate you taking the time to find that common ground and compromise to make this work. And so that we do want to make this move along. So the next thing would be motions for referral to
Two variances.
two variances. First one was
First one is the
residential to commercial.
to allow 7 residential units on the first floor of each building and allowing, in addition to the 7 residential units on the second floor.
So I will make a motion, if somebody can make a motion for referral to the ZBA to allow.
And then the second one is for the 2 separate buildings on one lot. Two
So two
principal,
buildings as opposed to one.
2 principal uses on one lot, yes.
Okay, and the second will be 2 principal buildings on one lot, correct? Can I have a motion for that? A motion, someone second? Need a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you again. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much for your time.
Thank
We look forward to coming back.
you. Look forward to seeing the new plan.
Thank you.
All right. So I'd like to,
Yeah.
I think that's it. No more items on the agenda. Somebody can make a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion. Second? Second, Bob, thank you. All in favor?
I gotta
Aye.
get.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you at next planning board work session.